Who will emerge victorious in the conflict between Iran and Israel? This question, though provocative, is vital to understanding the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East. It's not simply about military might or political alliances, but also about economic strategies, cultural dynamics, and even the role of international diplomacy. To truly grasp the stakes in this ongoing conflict, we need to delve deeper into the complexities surrounding these two nations. In order to answer this question, we need to take a look at the strengths and weaknesses of both nations. First, let's delve into the strengths and weaknesses of Iran. Iran, a country of significant strategic position, is nestled in the heart of the Middle East. Its geographical advantage is undeniable. With access to the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz, Iran commands a vital passageway for a large portion of the world's oil supply. This strategic location gives Iran a certain degree of influence, particularly over the energy market. Beyond geography, Iran's population is another strength. It's one of the most populous nations in the Middle East, boasting over 80 million citizens. This substantial populace lends itself to a sizable workforce, which can be a significant asset in both economic and military terms. Moreover, Iran has a rich history and culture that dates back thousands of years. This deep-rooted history has fostered a strong sense of national identity and pride among Iranians, serving as a unifying factor in times of conflict. Furthermore, Iran's influence in the region, particularly through its relationships with proxy groups in countries like Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon, amplifies its regional standing. However, Iran also faces notable weaknesses. Economically, the country has been wrestling with challenges for some time. International sanctions, primarily led by the United States, have significantly hampered its economy. These sanctions have impeded Iran's access to global markets, crippled its oil exports, and led to a sharp decline in its currency value. Politically, Iran often finds itself isolated on the world stage. Its strained relationships with many Western and Gulf countries have limited its diplomatic avenues. This political isolation has further compounded its economic struggles, making it harder for Iran to forge beneficial international partnerships or attract foreign investments. Additionally, Iran's domestic situation is fraught with issues. Public discontent over economic hardships, coupled with a lack of political freedom, has led to sporadic bouts of civil unrest. These internal pressures can detract from Iran's ability to project power abroad, and may limit its capacity to sustain prolonged conflict. These strengths and weaknesses shape Iran's position in this conflict. The geopolitical chessboard is complex and multifaceted, with each player bringing its unique strengths and grappling with its own set of weaknesses. As we continue to explore this question of who would prevail in a hypothetical conflict, it's essential to remember that these variables can significantly impact the outcome. Now we turn our attention to Israel. Israel, the small Mediterranean nation, boasts of a significant global influence thanks to its technological advancements. The nation is a global leader in tech with a particular stronghold in cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and medical technology. These technological advancements, coupled with a robust military, provide Israel with a significant edge. Speaking of its military power, Israel's armed forces are among the most advanced and well-trained in the world. The nation has mandatory military service, ensuring a large and prepared reserve force at all times. Additionally, Israel's Iron Dome anti-missile system is a testament to its technological and military prowess. This sophisticated system, capable of intercepting and neutralizing incoming threats, has significantly bolstered Israel's defensive capabilities. Israel also benefits from strong alliances, particularly its relationship with the United States. This partnership provides Israel with substantial military aid and diplomatic support on the international stage, further strengthening its position. However, as with any nation, Israel has its share of weaknesses. Its geographical vulnerability is one such concern. Located in a volatile region and surrounded by nations often hostile to its existence, Israel must constantly maintain high levels of security and vigilance. Israel also faces demographic challenges. The nation is home to a diverse population with varying religious, political, and ethnic identities. This diversity, while a source of cultural richness, sometimes leads to internal divisions and conflicts that could weaken the country's unity. Lastly, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict remains a divisive issue, both domestically and internationally. The ongoing conflict poses a significant challenge to Israel's security and diplomacy. It can also complicate its relationships with other nations, potentially undermining its alliances and diplomatic endeavors. Israel's unique strengths and weaknesses make it a formidable player in this conflict. The conflict between Iran and Israel isn't limited to these two nations. It has significant implications for the global economy. When we turn our gaze to the world stage, we find that the ripples of this conflict can touch every corner of the globe. Consider the potential impact on oil prices. A significant escalation in the Middle East could disrupt oil markets, causing prices to skyrocket. Imagine a world where oil prices surge by over 70% to $150 per barrel. Such a surge could lead to a significant drop in global GDP growth, inflation spikes, and supply chain disruptions. Now let's talk about the United States. The U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve is at a 40-year low. This poses a significant challenge in managing potential price hikes and refilling the reserve. In the face of these challenges, voices like former U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin are emphasizing the need for the U.S. to increase domestic oil production to address national security concerns. But it's not just about oil. The conflict could also impact green energy initiatives. The Biden administration has been focusing on green energy as a way forward. But in a world where oil prices are soaring, the push for green energy could face substantial hurdles. And what about the world's supply chains? They're already stretched thin due to various global events. If Middle Eastern tensions escalate, we could see even more disruptions. These could range from delays in shipping to increased prices for goods and services, affecting economies and consumers worldwide. The consequences of this conflict could ripple far beyond the borders of Iran and Israel. The global economy is a complex web of interconnections, and a significant disruption in one part of the world can have profound effects elsewhere. As we continue to watch the developments between Iran and Israel, let's not forget the larger picture, the potential global economic impact that such a conflict could have. To wrap up, let's summarize what we've discussed today. On one hand, we have Iran, a nation with considerable resources and strategic geopolitical positioning. However, it faces challenges, including economic sanctions and internal pressures. On the other hand, we have Israel, a state known for its advanced technology and strong defense capabilities, yet it too is not without its weaknesses, particularly in terms of regional relationships and the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The potential escalation of this conflict into a larger war could have far-reaching consequences. A surge in oil prices, a drop in global GDP growth, inflation spikes, and supply chain disruptions are just some of the potential repercussions. At the same time, the conflict has the potential to reshape political alliances and trade agreements, as seen in the historic trade deal between the UAE and Israel. This is a complex situation with many variables at play. The balance of power can be tipped by numerous factors, not least of which is the international community's response and the potential involvement of other nations. While it's impossible to predict exactly who will emerge victorious, understanding the strengths and weaknesses of both Iran and Israel gives us a better grasp of the complexities involved in this conflict.